Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today's replay is from Worldsbone, and he is in the Stalingrad, a tier 10 Russian cruiser. And I'm sorry if I pronounced the nickname wrong. Now he is on the map Northern Lights in a standard battle. It's your typical tier 10 battle where 2 tier 8s got screwed over, the tier 9s are missing for some reason. And well, it's a standard battle just to make sure people aren't having too much fun. Now, what to do in a standard battle, he has moved up here in a pretty strong central position where his radar can cover a lot. In a domination game, that would be pretty strong. In a standard battle, it remains to be seen what it will do. Now, here on the left side, we have a Lightning that is really so much into submarines that he has decided to play his Lightning like a submarine. And he has achieved it. He is currently diving. Now, I mean, seriously, he was charging right towards the enemy side of the map into all of their radar, and so, well, I guess he might be enjoying the depths of the sea right now. Now, we have a Des Moines here, who is a little bit too broadside, and I guess he's also enjoying a dive right now. Now here on the right side we have the usual ships that are just charging down the 910 line. Well, at least they are charging. Now I can understand that the destroyers, I mean, they can't really go through this gap. They don't want all of the destroyers on the left side. It's... The standard battle makes this sometimes kind of painful to play because everybody is just so passive, so they decided to just charge the 910 line instead. So far it's looking pretty good for the friendly team. So at least we have that going. Now our Stalingrad here, he has found a decent position. He is kind of protected from some enemy ships by this giant island, so he's not getting flanked anytime soon. And he can just sit here and shoot a few ships. He may or may not be in position to radar something at some point. I mean, he is kind of covering the huge center place here, but with no objectives, like you don't even know when the destroyers are around, and there is really no, well, tactical location that he's kind of protecting. I mean, I guess he kind of covers this channel, which limits the enemy destroyers to be a bit more passive. So that's a good thing. And that was Chapayev showing broadside, not something you wanna do. Now, except for the aggressive push on the right side, we pretty much have the expected stalemate. Both ships are on their side of the map and they are just shooting each other. But the enemy team has already taken so many losses that there really is an opportunity for the friendlies to push soon. Like, with how aggressive the friendly team is on the right flank, friendlies here on the left side can probably push. We already have the Yamatos going forward, I believe. And at this point, they can just really go in. They can catch the enemy team, hopefully in a crossfire, and pretty much obliterate the remaining ships. Now the Stalingrad has to be careful that if he goes in right now, he could end up in a crossfire with this core first. The Yamatos on the other hand, they can just push in here without risking. Now the enemy team on the other hand will have trouble, I guess, pretty soon. This Yamato is, I don't know, I guess he's headed with this game and is just going for a counter push, or just wants to go out in a blaze of glory. You know, for a standard battle, this is actually played pretty aggressively. Most of the time, it's just both teams sitting there and taking pot shots at each other until, like, I don't know, 15 minutes have passed. And then maybe some action happens. So this is quite interesting to see, I suppose. Now this poor Yamato is obviously in a horrible position because he is getting flanked and he is going down, but I guess at this point he just wants to get his last charge going. But once this Yamato is taken care of, the Stalingrad can move here and just push in as well. The only thing that's stopping the Stalingrad here from being more aggressive is basically those ships here on the top left. Might just get shots at his broadside. And it's not like he needed to get closer so far. His guns are doing pretty well so far. Now the friendly team has lost their destroyers here on the right flank, but it doesn't seem to be much of a problem. Stalingrad still hasn't been in a position where he could make use of his radar though. But so far he is just farming damage on bigger ships. Now the left flank, I feel like they could have pushed in a little bit earlier, but it's not like it matters here. And look at that, there's some tasty smoke here that he could use. Then again, I think that Kurfürst is too close, so he will get spotted while firing in smoke anyway. Then again, the Kurfürst is going down and not paying attention. I mean, this Kurfürst was surrounded, so he had enemies to shoot at in every direction. And here we go with a radar. The Herring is actually here. I mean, we knew that there were destroyers around. Russian radar has a pretty long range, so it was a good choice to use the radar here before he pushes in. To give him an opportunity to spank some destroyers. And that Herring got a little bit of a spanking. Yeah, at this point it's mostly just cleanup duty, I suppose. So, and see how much damage he can farm before it's all over. Montana is sailing broadside. I can see a few here. There have been a lot of broadside ships. Now, some ships might have been forced into the broadside, like battleships. But, you know, he found himself some nice cruiser broadsides that just weren't paying enough attention earlier. And yeah, I mean, he could take it slower with those destroyers, but at this point it's just a race who does more damage, so there is no reason to play it safe anymore. The Edinburgh, for example, might be running Hydro, or maybe he is not. But who cares, you know? In 1 minute he could radar again, but it's uncertain if that game will last another minute. Right now he is just farming a Montana that's running away. And you see, if I were this Montana, I would just charge. If you find yourself in a situation like this, there is really no point in running away. The closer you get to the enemy, I mean, the sooner you will sink probably, but with less distance you will get better hits. Like, at this point, running away for the Montana will probably reduce damage he does, and therefore will reduce how much experience and credits he gets out of it, and it will prolong the battle needlessly. And it's not like he has a chance to win this anyway. Now meanwhile, Herring here gets focused down, the mini Kraken's unleashed, so the only question that remains is, can he unleash a real Kraken? So, but what I pretty much liked about this battle is that the friendly team, you see, they are all pushing in. Now you could argue that some ships could have pushed maybe a little bit harder, a little bit sooner or something like that, but that's not really... There wasn't really much of a problem. It's like, even the ships that went to the 9-10 line, they pushed in. The ships here, they were in somewhat aggressive positions on the left flank, and they kept pushing in. It's like just the friendly team, they spread themselves out, and then they just pushed in and crushed the enemy. The friendly team didn't have any zone wall hugging battleships here. They didn't have ships that were just too scared to move forward. I mean, it probably helped that the friendlies got some ship advantage early on. But, you know, I enjoyed this. The friendly team, they spread out, they moved in, they crushed the enemy team. And now all that remains to see is, can he manage a Kraken or not? Let's just speed it up a little bit. I guess the question also remains, will the friendlies just cap or sink the enemy? And this is something where I say I really don't mind if cap a situation like this. Now obviously he says don't cap because he wants the Kraken, which is understandable. But you also have to keep in mind that everyone who is capping, they will just get experience for capping. And here's the Kraken. And here we are with the results. Wordsbone earned himself 2,733 base XP. Pretty nicely done by him, so yeah. He earned himself the mini Kraken, a devastating strike, a Confederate, a real Kraken, and a high caliber, scoring 233,000 points of damage. And yeah, so I thought this was an enjoyable game. It was a standard battle where the friendly team, they just formed a nice line, pushed in from all sides and crushed the enemy. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And I'll see you guys next time.